Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're going deep into the dark heart of folklore, into the shadowy corners of the world where fear takes root and stories spread like wildfire. We're talking about urban legends, those chilling tales whispered from person to person, passed down through generations. These aren't just stories, they're warnings, wrapped in mystery and soaked in dread. From the bustling streets of New York City to the desolate outback of Australia, every culture has its own terrifying tales to tell. These are the stories that keep you up at night, the ones that make you double-check the lock on your door. So get ready to dive into the unknown, to explore the terrifying power of belief, and to confront the chilling possibility that some legends might be more than just stories. Let's go. We begin our journey with a legend that many of you might have heard whispered in hushed tones during childhood sleepovers. It's a name that sends shivers down your spine and conjures images of dark bathrooms and flickering candles. Bloody Mary. The very utterance of her name evokes a sense of dread, a primal fear of the unknown lurking just beyond the veil of our reality. The ritual is simple, almost childish in its execution. Stand in front of a mirror in a darkened room, light a candle, and repeat her name 3 times. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. What happens next? Well, that's where the stories diverge, each more terrifying than the last. Some say that Bloody Mary will appear as a horrifying apparition, her eyes burning with rage, her clothes stained with the blood of her victims. They say her reflection emerges slowly, twisting the familiar into something grotesque and evil. Others whisper that she doesn't appear at all, but her presence is felt, a cold breath on the back of your neck, the scent of decay filling the air. The mirror might shatter, shards flying towards you with impossible speed, a physical manifestation of her fury. But the most disturbing accounts describe her touch. Ice-cold hands reaching out from the mirror, scratching, clawing, attempting to drag her victim into her world of darkness and despair. It's said that those who survive the encounter are forever marked, bearing the physical and psychological scars of their encounter with Bloody Mary. So, who is this vengeful spirit, and what drives her insatiable thirst for terror? The origins of the Bloody Mary legend are shrouded in mystery, with roots stretching back centuries and across continents. Some believe she is the spirit of Mary I of England, the infamous Bloody Mary of history, known for her brutal persecution of Protestants during her reign. Her thirst for blood, they say, has followed her into the afterlife, manifesting in this terrifying ritual. Others link the legend to more localized tales, stories of women accused of witchcraft, young girls who died tragic deaths, or even vengeful mothers who lost their children. Each culture adds its own unique flavor to the legend, shaping it to fit their own fears and beliefs. But regardless of her origins, one thing remains constant: the fear that Bloody Mary evokes. It's a fear that transcends language and culture, a primal dread that speaks to our deepest anxieties about the unknown. Is she real, a malevolent entity trapped between worlds, or is she a manifestation of our own deepest fears? A cautionary tale meant to keep us from tempting fate. The answer, like the legend itself, remains shrouded in mystery, but one thing is certain. The next time you find yourself alone in a darkened room with a mirror, you might think twice before whispering her name. While Bloody Mary's legend has haunted us for centuries, some stories are much more recent, emerging from the shadows of our modern world. One such legend, which has spread like wildfire through online forums and late-night radio shows, is that of the black-eyed children. These are not your typical spooky kids. Imagine, if you will, a knock at your door on a stormy night. You open it to find 2 children, a boy and a girl, standing on your doorstep. They look ordinary enough, but something about them feels off. Their eyes, usually described as completely black, devoid of any white, stare at you with an unnerving intensity, seeming to peer into your very soul. This is where the stories take a truly unsettling turn. The children, their voices often described as flat and monotone, will ask to come inside. They might claim they need to use the phone, that they're lost, or that they need your help, but their request is always accompanied by a sense of urgency, an almost desperate need to get inside your home. Those who have encountered these children describe an overwhelming feeling of dread, a primal instinct screaming at them to refuse. It's as if your very being senses a profound wrongness, a disruption in the natural order of things, and the consequences of refusing their request. Some witnesses claim that the children become aggressive, their voices taking on a demanding, almost threatening tone. Others say that the children simply vanish, as if they were never there at all, leaving behind only a lingering sense of unease. But the most disturbing accounts describe strange occurrences following the encounter: unexplained illnesses, vivid nightmares, electronic devices malfunctioning, and a persistent feeling of being watched. Some researchers believe that the black-eyed children legend taps into our primal fear of the unknown, of things that look human but are not. They might represent our anxieties about the safety of our homes, the vulnerability of our families, or the unseen forces that might be lurking just beyond our perception. Interestingly, reports of black-eyed children are not confined to any one region or culture. From the United States to the United Kingdom, from Japan to Brazil, these unsettling encounters have been documented across the globe. Is it a case of mass hysteria, fueled by the internet and our fascination with the macabre? Or could there be something more to these stories? Whatever the explanation, one thing is undeniable. The legend of the black-eyed children continues to send chills down our spines, reminding us that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones that wear the most innocent of faces. From the bustling streets of Japan comes a legend so unsettling, so horrifying, it's been terrifying children and adults alike for decades. They call her Kuchisake Onna, the slit-mouthed woman, and her story is not for the faint of heart. Imagine, if you will, walking home alone late at night. The streets are quiet, the air is thick with humidity, and the only sound you hear is your own footsteps echoing off the buildings. Suddenly you see a figure approaching in the distance, a woman shrouded in a long coat, her face hidden behind a surgical mask. This, my friends, is where the nightmare begins, because hidden beneath that seemingly innocent mask lies a grotesque disfigurement, a chilling secret that has cemented Kuchisake Onna's place in the annals of horror. As the woman draws closer, her steps echo in the silence of the night, each one sending a shiver down your spine. The air grows colder and you can almost feel the weight of her presence pressing down on you. She speaks, her voice a raspy whisper that sends chills down your spine. It's a voice that seems to come from the depths of despair, filled with an eerie, haunting quality that makes your skin crawl. "Am I beautiful?" she asks, her words heavy with malice. The question hangs in the air, laden with a sinister undertone that makes your heart race. You look into her eyes, and that's when you see it. The gruesome gash that stretches from ear to ear, a wound so deep and raw that it seems to pulsate with a life of its own. A horrifying Glasgow smile carved into her face. The sight is so grotesque, so utterly terrifying that you can hardly breathe. Frozen in terror, you can only stammer a response. Your mind races, trying to find the right words, but all you can manage is a feeble, trembling reply. But be warned, because Kuchisake Onna offers no escape from her twisted game. Her presence is like a dark cloud, suffocating and inescapable. If you answer no, she'll reveal the giant pair of shears she hides within her coat, and, well, let's just say you won't have to worry about your looks anymore. The shears glint menacingly in the dim light, a promise of pain and suffering. The darkness around you seems to close in, and you realize that there's no escape from this nightmare. On the other hand, if you answer yes, attempting to appease this vengeful spirit, you only seal your fate in a different way. The fear in your eyes betrays your attempt to stay calm, because Kuchisake Onna, obsessed with her disfigurement, will then remove her mask entirely, revealing the full horror of her wound. The sight is enough to make your blood run cold. You can feel the weight of her gaze, her eyes boring into you, as if searching for something deep within your soul. Because Kuchisake Onna, obsessed with her disfigurement, will then remove her mask entirely, revealing the full horror of her wound. The sight is enough to make your blood run cold. She pulls down the mask slowly, almost ceremoniously, as if relishing the horror she is about to unveil, revealing the full horror of her wound. The sight is enough to make your blood run cold. "Am I still beautiful now?" she hisses, her voice dripping with venom. The question is a cruel mockery, a twisted game that you can never win, her voice dripping with venom. The question is a cruel mockery, a twisted game that you can never win, and with that she steps closer, her eyes burning into your soul. You can feel her breath on your skin, cold and menacing, her eyes burning into your soul. The intensity of her gaze is almost unbearable, and you realize that there is no right answer to her question. The only certainty is the terror that she brings. The legend of Kuchisake Onna isn't confined to hushed whispers in the dead of night. It is a tale that has transcended generations, embedding itself deeply into the fabric of Japanese folklore. This story has permeated Japanese culture, striking fear into the hearts of children and sparking debate amongst scholars. From ancient scrolls to modern classrooms, the legend is dissected and discussed, its origins and implications pondered over. Some believe she was once a woman, scorned, her beauty destroyed by a jealous lover. This tragic tale of betrayal and vengeance has been passed down, each retelling adding layers of mystery and horror. Others claim she's a malevolent spirit, a vengeful entity preying on the innocent. Her presence is said to be felt in the darkest corners, where shadows seem to move with a life of their own. Regardless of her origins, one thing remains clear. Kuchisake Onna is more than just a scary story. She embodies the fears and anxieties of a society, a symbol of the unknown dangers that lurk in the night. She's a cautionary tale, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Her story serves as a warning, a lesson in vigilance and caution. Reports of encounters with Kuchisake Onna have surfaced throughout Japan, sending waves of panic through communities. These sightings are often accompanied by a sense of dread, a feeling that something is watching from the shadows. Parents warn their children to never walk alone at night, to stay in groups and avoid dark, deserted areas. The fear of encountering Kuchisake Onna is enough to keep even the bravest souls on edge, and even the most skeptical among us can't help but feel a shiver run down their spines when they hear her name. The legend of Kuchisake Onna continues to haunt the collective consciousness, a chilling reminder of the shadows that surround us. The enduring power of Kuchisake Onna lies in her ability to tap into our deepest fears, the fear of the unknown, the fear of disfigurement, the fear of the darkness that lurks within ourselves. But perhaps the most terrifying aspect of this urban legend is its plausibility. Could there be a kernel of truth hidden within the layers of folklore? Is it possible that a figure like Kuchisake Onna, driven by rage and despair, could actually exist? These questions, my friends, are what fuel the fire of our fascination with the unknown. They remind us that sometimes the line between reality and nightmare can become blurred, and that the stories we tell ourselves can be just as terrifying as any monster lurking in the dark. So far, we've talked about urban legends from the United States, but these stories, these whispers in the dark, they travel. They cross oceans and borders, taking root in different cultures, changing, evolving like whispers on the wind. And few urban legends demonstrate this better than the tale of the vanishing hitchhiker. It's a story so widespread, so ingrained in our collective consciousness, that it almost feels like a universal truth. A lone driver, traveling down a desolate road late at night, encounters a solitary figure by the roadside, thumb outstretched, seeking a ride. Now, most folks know better than to pick up hitchhikers these days, but something about this encounter. Maybe it's the way the moonlight glints off their desperate eyes. Maybe it's the promise of company on a long and lonely road. One minute they're there, flesh and blood, the next they're gone, vanished without a trace, leaving behind only an empty seat and a sense of unease that chills the driver to the bone. Now, this basic premise, the sudden disappearance of a seemingly harmless hitchhiker, forms the backbone of countless variations of this legend. In some versions, the hitchhiker leaves behind a personal item, a piece of clothing, a letter, or even a grave warning. In others, the driver later discovers that the hitchhiker they picked up had died tragically years, even decades earlier, their ghost now doomed to wander the roads, seeking a ride they can never finish. But what's truly fascinating about the vanishing hitchhiker legend is its global reach. From the United States to Europe, from Asia to South America, this story pops up again and again, each culture adding its unique flavor, its own cultural anxieties and beliefs. In the American South, you have the tale of Resurrection Mary, a young woman who supposedly died in a car crash and now haunts Archer Avenue in Chicago, accepting rides and vanishing without a trace. In the UK, there's the story of the Black Volga, a phantom car said to be driven by Satan himself, who picks up unsuspecting hitchhikers only for them to disappear forever. Each variation of the vanishing hitchhiker legend, while different in its details, taps into a universal fear, the fear of the unknown, the fear of what lurks in the shadows, the fear of the things we don't understand, but it also speaks to a deeper human need, a longing for connection, for companionship, even in the most unexpected of places. Maybe that's why this story continues to resonate with us, even in our modern age. It's a reminder that even on the loneliest of roads, we are never truly alone, even if the company we find sends shivers down our spines. From the dusty roads of America, we travel south to the sun-drenched yet shadow-strewn landscapes of Mexico and the southwestern United States. Here, amidst the cacti and canyons, whispers a legend as old as time itself, a tale of love, loss, and unimaginable sorrow. This is the story of La Llorona, the weeping woman. Her name, whispered in hushed tones around campfires and passed down through generations, evokes a chill that runs deeper than the desert night. La Llorona, they say, is not a comforting spirit, but a harbinger of tragedy. Her cries a mournful symphony that spells doom for those who hear them. The legend of La Llorona is a tragic one. She was once a beautiful woman named Maria, blessed with a loving husband and 2 precious children. But their happiness was shattered when Maria's husband, his heart ensnared by another, abandoned her and their children. Driven to madness by grief and despair, Maria, clutching her children, wandered aimlessly until she reached the edge of a raging river. There, in a moment of unimaginable anguish, she drowned her beloved children, their innocent laughter swallowed by the rushing water. Immediately consumed by remorse, Maria tried to save her children, but it was too late. The current swept them away, leaving her empty-armed and filled with an agonizing despair that echoed through the ages. Legend has it that Maria, driven mad by her actions, drowned herself in the same river that claimed her children. But her soul, unable to find peace, was condemned to wander the earth, eternally searching for her lost children, her mournful cries echoing through the night. Some say La Llorona can be seen near rivers and lakes, her white gown billowing in the wind, her cries a chilling lament that chills the very marrow. Parents warn their children of La Llorona, using her tale as a cautionary reminder to stay away from the water's edge, for her sorrow is so profound, her despair so deep, that she might mistake any child for her own and drag them to a watery grave. And there we leave these tales behind us, tales that have woven themselves into the very fabric of our fears and imaginations. The echoes of chilling whispers and campfire stories linger in the air, like ghosts that refuse to be forgotten. From the ghostly apparitions in your bathroom mirror where shadows play tricks on your mind, to the mournful cries echoing along desolate riverbanks, where the mist seems to whisper secrets of the past. These urban legends, passed down through generations, are more than just stories. They are a window into our collective psyche, offering a glimpse into our deepest fears, our most profound anxieties, and the things that go bump in the night. Our enduring fascination with the unknown drives us to seek out these tales, to explore the dark corners of our world and our minds. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the dark heart of folklore. It's been a path filled with shadows and whispers. Don't forget to hit that like button if you dared to brave these tales with me and show your support for more eerie explorations. Subscribe for more journeys into the strange and unsettling, where every story is a new descent into the unknown, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a descent into darkness. Stay connected, stay curious. Tell me, do you have any local legends that make your skin crawl? Stories that have haunted you since childhood? Share them in the comments below if you dare. Let's keep the conversation going and the chills running down our spines. Until next time, sleep tight, if you can. Remember, the stories may end, but the fear lives on.